My name is Elizabeth Daly. I'm chairperson of the Carrickmacross Lace here in Carrickmacross. So it all began back in 1816 when a Mrs. Gray Porter from the parish of Dunamine, who was a rector's wife, while on holiday in Italy, they came across the Italian lace and were very interested in it and took good note of it. And so when they came back to Ireland, Mrs. Gray Porter set up about making a school of teaching the lace and trying to introduce a new lace. She didn't really know what she was about at that stage, but it transpired that it was actually, which is now known as Carrickmacross lace. So it was with the materials that were available to her at the time that she started introducing different laces and then ended up with what we now know as Carrickmacross lace. The lace is over 200 years. We celebrated 200 years there back in 2020. It was, yeah? Yes, her maid was Anne Stedman. She was her maid, that's right, and she was a great seamstress lady, as obviously both of them were. And if you can imagine, back in the day, it wouldn't have been that easy to communicate and to get, organise stuff together, but she really did. And when she set up the schools, she had a lot of people that were interested. Well, I suppose, to be honest, to call it employed is an understatement or an overstatement, because the intensity of the lace and the amount of time that it takes to do a piece of lace, you certainly wouldn't earn a living on it as such. But you try to give a little wage that supports the people that do it in order to encourage them to continue. But as a means of an income, it wouldn't really make an awful lot of money for you because, as I said, of the time length that it takes to make a piece of lace. But a lot of people love making the lace, and to be honest, the money doesn't really come into it in the beginning, especially because you're just so engrossed in what you're doing. Well, you see, long ago it was even probably better than now, in the sense that there was actually no income coming into the households, so that if you were making a piece of lace, you did get pence for it, I suppose, in the day, but that was really important because it was actually money coming into the house that wouldn't have been otherwise. The lace was mainly done at home, so you would have been taught probably in a room or in some sort of building you'd be taught how to do the lace and to make the lace, but the lace was always made in the people's own homes back in the day in particular, and still today actually. It's done in your own time, and it's whatever time you put into it, that's what you get out of it, as it were, If I were to answer you honestly, I would say that the lace is even more popular than it was maybe even 10 years ago. And I think it's because there's a lot more information about it with all the modern technology and everything. People can gain access to and know about where it's made and how it's made. And there is a big interest in it, definitely. It's very popular at the moment, extremely popular. I got involved because I married a Monaghan man, and I lived down at Lahagaish, and there's a little school called Amacare, which isn't a school anymore, but the building has been revamped or whatever. And this lady, she was from Dunamine direction, I think, as well. I'm not sure, maybe I knew her well at the time, Mrs. Kathleen Flanagan, and she came to the wee school. And I lived just kind of up the road. So most people came on foot at that time because there wasn't even availability of cars or whatever, or you certainly went 3 or 4 together in one car. And she started doing the lace. And I was not a person for sewing or anything like that, but I was in awe of the lace, and when you'd start doing it and wondering how it was going to turn out and what the finished piece was going to be like, and you got this sort of intense wanting to do it and get on with it, and most of the people were like that, and it's really, I have to say, from the first class that I did with Mrs. Flanagan, I always have had a piece of lace on hand, and that's a good few years ago, if I might add. It's definitely 50 years ago since I started. It's my sanity at times as well. Very therapeutic, because when you start the piece, you want to get on, you want to move on, and you want to see it finished, and you want to see what it's like, and everything else is a blur. And you'll sit down thinking, well, I'm going to spend 1 hour now because I have to get the dinner on in an hour's time. But unless you're very, very smart, the hour goes so quickly that it could be 2 hours, and honestly, the time just flies with it. You're so engrossed in it. My favourite is the actual guipure work, the open work, which we talk of in lace terms like bars and thorns. I absolutely love the bars and thorns. It's the open work, so you do your kind of buttonhole stitch, and then when it's all done, you cut away, so you're left with this open stitch. So it's I absolutely love that. I love that one. There are many different filling stitches. I don't mind the filling stitch either, but my preference is definitely the guipure work. Nowadays, you still have people looking for wedding veils, believe it or not, and we accommodate them as best we can because it takes so long to make a wedding veil. I mean, you're talking about 6 months to make, and that's for an experienced worker that would be working every day at it. And then you would have, we've had a number of christening gowns now in the last 18 months or so that we didn't have as many for years before. And then you have kind of the pieces that are specially made for like a wedding occasion, like a christening, like a 21st birthday, a 50th birthday, and any of those, you know, and you can do anything. You can turn anything into lace with the proper. We have a brilliant, I must mention him here now, and that is PJ McCabe. He is our designer, and without him, I honestly feel we wouldn't be going as far as we can with the lace, because he's an absolute gem. He's brilliant. He's an expert. He's our man for the lace. He can do anything. He can turn a piece of lace for us and make it into beautiful pieces, and he knows all about lace. We would use old designs. We could some incorporated with a bit mixture maybe of contemporary and old, but a lot of the patterns would be old, but they would be modernized, because a lot of the older lace would have had an enormous amount of lace on it. All of the work in here actually has been donated to us, if you want to put it that way. It's people that had it, didn't know what to do with it, wanted it to be displayed, and so we display it in this is the cabinet here. Yeah, contemporary has all the stitching, and then there are I suppose updates on the lace that wouldn't have been done years ago, like that we can do, that we can frame. We can do lovely framework, and we can we have a lot of mounts and different things that can be made just with the, you know, with an edging and then another edging on it, and it makes it look more modern than the old lace. Mm-hmm.